Sean, Tom, thank you for letting us talk about Man of Medan. I guess first things first, how did it originally come about?
Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about it for your audience. So Man of Medan is the first game in the Dark Pictures anthology, which is a series of cinematic horror games made by Supermassive Games, who made Until Dawn. And it came about because after Until Dawn, we were trying to work out what we wanted to do next, and we were really into horror. You know, a lot of people at the studio, big horror fans. We'd been through that process a couple of times of making horror games, so we understood it well, but we didn't know horror's got lots of genres. We didn't know which genre to go into. And we sat down, we had a meeting, we counted all the different horror subgenres there were, and there's something like 39. I think we've currently got up to 42. There's a lot of different subgenres. And we kind of couldn't pick one. So one way we decided to deal with that was to make this anthology of different games. And every game we could come along and pick a couple of genres and mash them together and make a game. So that was the starting point, really, to be able to dig into that world of horror.
Now, Sean, you're playing, what character, rather, are you playing in this game?
I play a character named Conrad, who is a 20-something kind of well-off American tourist who, basically the setup of the game is there's the 4 Americans that are on a diving trip in the South Pacific, and Conrad is one of the tourists. Essentially, he's kind of an entitled American along for the ride. He's like a party guy, you know, college educated, but brash and a little rude. Not the nicest guy in the world, which was one of the draws for me to play Conrad. I think specifically in survival and in horror games, you sort of need those characters that sort of cut right to the chase. And Conrad has no filter. You know, he says what's on his mind. He jumps right into certain situations. So that's kind of why it was fun for me to come on board. Also, you know, another exciting thing was I was a fan of Supermassive's games and of Until Dawn. And I think that technology right now is at a place where we can really translate, you know, a real performance. Because a lot of people say, well, what's it like voice acting in games? And it's like, it's actually much more than that. I mean, we're doing full facial capture and the game looks fantastic. And it's exciting as an actor who's used to film and television to come into games at a place and at a time where those performances that you're giving can, you know, be accurately translated to games and for players. So it's been a really, really good process.
Now, since there guys are recording your facial reaction and everything, do they like purposely scare you while recording to get the best?
That's actually a good question. We didn't do too much of that, but you know, what is really great about the motion capture process, as opposed to film and television, is that you are really, really free. You're really free to move around. You don't necessarily have to be stuck in place. It allows you to move, to get energy, and a lot of, you know, trying to create fear as a performance is really difficult. And a lot of it comes from a physical energy. You know, it's hard to be still and act really afraid. It's always something that sort of builds from inside. You know, this sweating, heartbeat racing, all those sorts of things. So when we were doing the motion capture, performance capture, it was kind of cool because all the actors were there, but we had freedom to move around, and I feel like a lot of that helps the believability of fear in a performance, and so that was kind of a nice way to capture the performance.
Now, Man of Medan, most of it takes place on a boat, basically. What, I guess, inspired you, like, let's do this horror game out at sea?
Well, one of the things we're looking for a location that delivers the kind of creepy vibe that players want and players need to tell that sort of story. So there's a few things we want. We want to make, as a player, we want to make sure you're isolated, that it's probably pretty dark, the environment itself is threatening and unknown. So all of that works well with a ship at sea. And then you get the whole ghost ship vibe. You know, you're trapped on there. You don't know what's happened. There's obviously some history, but you don't know what it is, and you're working it out. A big part of the game is finding out things in the ship, things that'll tell you the backstory, maybe that will help you survive. And we've got a great production team who go and research locations like this, research the ship. They'll give us a lot of variety in the environment. it's all part of the mix.
I think it was, just to add on to that, what was really cool for me as an actor coming on board, obviously you're doing motion capture performance. You can't see what you're doing, but they had a fantastic lookbook of pictures, detail, artwork, concept stuff that really sort of paints that picture for you as an actor, as a performer. So I'd kind of forgotten how in depth you guys had sort of...
It's a very cinematic process, and it's all about what we need to get fear working and scares working. Is we need empathy from the audience, and to get that we need empathy with the characters. So it's really amazing to write a story and plan everything out. And kind of plan how the game's going to be, but it's when you get actors involved and that kind of creative chaos, and you get people of Sean's caliber, it makes these characters come to life. And once you've got that, then people buy into it so much more, and then the scares start happening because they care.
Now, when you guys are planning these scares, I guess do you what kind of research goes into, hey, this is going to be the scary things, this is the psychological things that we're going to get with people, and these are basically what goes into planning the scary moments, I guess?
It's a bunch of stuff. A while ago we did some kind of survey of the science of fear, and what works and how it works and how long it works. There's a whole kind of mood thing where scares have to build. They can't just happen like that. They have to go through a number of phases where we get you in a really heightened state, and then we can do a scare, and then we have to kind of let you calm down. You'll see it in films as well. It's quite common. But so we went and got all that understanding, and then some of it just comes from us. Guys sitting around saying what would be scary, and kind of knocking things backwards and forwards with the writers and stuff like that. And then there's a certain amount of technique, which is film technique, the cameras and lighting and things, which deliver the moment. It's all about that moment where you're going to jump.
Now, one of the big features for Until Dawn is basically everyone in the game lives or dies. It could be a total slaughterhouse. Everyone could survive. Is it going to be the same with Man of Medan?
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone can live, everyone can die. It's one of the key features of the games, yeah.
Well then, Sean, how many death scenes have you recorded, and is it weird recording your own death?
It's always weird recording death scenes. To be honest, I don't even remember how many death scenes there were. Again,
I don't have a number for you, but I know in the game as a whole there are, I think it's either 69 or 72 deaths.
There's a few, just a few. But no, again, it's interesting. It's fun for me because there's so many variations and so many paths in the game, which makes it very interesting and I think replayable. Even though was there and performed all those branches, I kind of forget. I was watching some playback earlier this morning, and I'd forgotten about that moment. So, if the people in it, sort of lose track of some of the storylines, I think it's going to be really fascinating for a player. I mean, there's just so many variations, so many different ways to go. It's cool.
Now, one thing I always like to ask actors, if your character has an iPod, what songs are on these iPods?
Oh, okay. I think that, for Conrad, who knows? Like I said, he's kind of a brash, confident guy. I'm not sure what he would have as a character, but I think for Conrad, in a story perspective, I think he'd probably have a bunch of horror film soundtracks in his iPod that he'd walk around the ship listening to. So probably like the Rosemary's Baby theme, maybe the Shining score. He probably he's confident enough. I guess what's interesting is that certain characters entering into this world are afraid right away. Conrad, I think, sometimes is not smart enough to know that he should be afraid. So I think he'd be the kind of guy that's like, this isn't scary. I'll put this in my headphones and walk around this scary place and listen to the songs.
Now, you said Man of Medan is part of the Dark Pictures anthology. Do we know yet what else is planned? What the next Dark Picture is?
No, we're not talking about that yet.
Fair enough.
Someone in this room knows.
Yeah.
Is it me?
It might be you.
Might be me. At the very least, if the character survive or all die. Will there? I guess is there possibly a sequel potential?
Well, all the stories and games in the Dark Pictures Anthology, they're all completely different stories, and different characters and different casts, and it's not really possible for us to do a sequel because of the whole everyone can die. We wouldn't know where to pick it up, and there's a real thing where people play the game that what happens in their playthrough because of the choices they've made, that kind of becomes canon for them. That's what happened in their story, and we wouldn't really know how to do that.
Now, Sean, have you played through the game yet?
I haven't. No. I've seen a bunch of the stuff online, like everybody else. And again, I watched a bunch of stuff this morning, but I haven't played through yet. I tend to like to wait until the game, the film, whatever it is that I'm in, is completely done, like ready for a player to play or ready for a moviegoer to sit in a theater and see. Because I like it all polished. I like it done. So I haven't played through it yet. But I have seen more today than I had prior, and it looks fantastic. Really, really cool.
And you will play through it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Are you going to, get your friends together and to ask them not to kill you?
Well, that wouldn't be any fun, I don't think. No, I'm fully of the mindset that playing any game like this, you just make the decisions that you think are right. I think maybe on second or third playthrough, it's kind of fun to sort of gear your gameplay to a certain outcome. But yeah, first time around, I just go with my gut and see what happens.
All right, slightly sillier questions now. For both of you, favorite horror movie?
My favourite horror movie is the original Halloween, which I just think is amazing.
The Exorcist is one of my favorite horror films. Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite horror films. Yeah, those are probably two of my favorites.
Awesome. And I guess dream horror franchise you'd be able to work on?
Dream horror. A game franchise. Do you know what?
Game or movie, whatever your dream is.
That sounds rubbish, but I am so pleased to be working on Dark Pictures because it's completely new. It's a thing's being developed from scratch, and every game starts from a blank piece of paper, and you can just get whatever's in your head, get it down on that piece of paper. So it's pretty much this. I've got it. I've got the job I wanted.
I want you to know that answer is not rubbish. I am glad you are proud of your work.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For me, I think a They Live television series would be interesting. Essentially it's invasion, an invasion story, but I think that could be kind of cool.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, we've about
5 minutes? Okay. We can probably wrap this up soon then. That just threw me off. No, it's okay. It's your job. All right. So, Man of Medan. When can I play it?
Release date is 30th of August this year.
Okay. And what can I play it on?
Oh, that's good numbers. That's what I'd say. You can play it on Xbox, PS4, PC.
And how excited are you for me to play it? Me specifically.
We are so excited for everyone to play.
10 out of 10?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it's been a couple of years. We have a large development team back in Guildford in the UK and working really, really hard. And it is all about this is going to get into the hands of players at the end of the day. And it's really exciting to see that.
Awesome. And do you have any final comments for anyone who would be watching, listening to this interview?
Don't kill me too often.
All right, fair enough. I'd seriously like to thank both of you for taking the time to talk to me. I'm really glad I got the chance, and I'm very excited for Man of Medan.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.